I am going to complete everything there is to do in Minecraft one update at a time, starting with the very first rendition of Alpha all the way up to present day. We will be building all there is to build, exploring new world changes every update, defeating mobs, and reliving Minecraft as if it's being played for the very first time. So sit back, enjoy all the twists, turns, ups and downs, subscribe for a potentially endless Minecraft experience, and let's play Minecraft as it was intended to be. Welcome to my Minecraft Evolution series, and the adventure begins now.
Welcome to Beta 1. Oh, what the? I was gonna show off the new chest open animations, but it turns out my chest immediately got sent to the Shadow Realm instead. Welcome to Beta 1.8, the adventure update. That's right, we have to deal with not starving to death for the rest of forever now. I do have a plan, but as my favorite version is Beta 1.7.3, the last version without hunger, forgive me for being a little annoyed about it. But look, we can sprint. It's a miracle. However, I don't want to do that too much yet since I literally don't have any food. Let's get some food first and then talk about some parts of the biggest update we've had yet. Oh yeah, and you might have noticed, this version was the first one to feature critical hits and stackable food. And then, the first hunger saturation icon thingy I have ever lost in the series. What a historically annoying moment that we will never forget. Time for the most micromanaging thing in all of Minecraft. Cooking food to hold our hunger bar up to not die. Okay, I promise I'm done complaining about it now. And look, another thing that was added was experience. However, it doesn't do anything in the raw first version of Beta 1.8, as enchanting won't come until later. But we can still gather some levels in preparation, which is really nice. The hotbar just looks so much more colorful now than it did before. Also, so much has changed in the adventure update, but the one true constant of our series is still intact. The fishing rods from episode 1 are still, in fact, stacked. Now, I know that was some rapid fire information, but let me slow it down for a second. The way we're going to tackle the features of Beta 1.8 will be in two video parts. This episode will focus on the new blocks, the new hunger system, and setting up our base for success, kind of taking care of the housekeeping at home, using the new items and features available to us. Now, the second video part will live up to its name, the adventure update, as we'll be packing a bag and taking off to explore the new world changes, as there's a lot of them, and try to find some of the new structures like villages and mine shafts. I'm actually not super excited about that, as I have mixed feelings on the terrain generation update, but we'll go through that in the next video. Speaking of terrain changes, Beta 1.8 removed gravel beaches from the generator for the rest of forever. However, we are blessed with preserving the Alpha 1.0 terrain at our main base for the entirety of this world, and right over the hill, past the Hall of Blocks, is a beautiful showcase of the old gravel beaches lining our coast. They will be preserved forever. In fact, I felt so strongly about this that I created a historical site sign marking it to be untouched. Someday we can maybe build like a small old terrain national park in commemoration, like maybe connect all of them between this little cove or something, but today is not that day. Maybe you don't care about gravel beaches and didn't even know they existed, but for me and for this series, they are special. Something interesting I learned too is that the new steak texture actually took over the old pork chop texture. Like this pork chop texture we know and love today just came out in this update. Oh, and you can block with your sword now, which is just iconic and a little nostalgic. And after sleeping through the night, 2 of our chests have returned from the Shadow Realm. Nice. Here's the new animation for real. And so, next minor change that we'll go through is mushrooms. You see, giant mushrooms first were coded into Beta 1.8. However, they do not spawn naturally in forests yet like they do today. The only way to get them in this version is to use bone meal on a mushroom, which I knew we had to add to our lands. So I picked a nice spot on one of the highest hill points and created them. And of course, left a sign marking the version they were added. This will be a very nice addition to our skyline when our lands come into to view from afar. Okay, it's time to begin the process of never worrying about food ever again. Fence gates were added in beta 1.8, meaning we can finally expand and improve our tiny, sad, non-existent farm we made in episode 2. Finally getting around to cutting down these massive trees. I mean, really, does anyone actually like these? Sure, they give so much wood, but God, let me pick when and if I want a tree that takes 20 minutes to cut down. Anyway, I got the wood I needed and began planning our great expansion. In fact, I think I'm just gonna tear down this sad rectangle and retool it. But oh yeah, you still can't break fence posts quickly in any way, shape, or form, so this is the pain in the ass. There we go. So we aren't going to do a big fat rectangle, no. Our theme has always been natural and curvy in this blocky hellscape, so I made it as natural looking with the terrain as I possibly could. And here it is, the first fence gate ever in the series. Let's go. I also learned you can put torches on top of fences now, so I'll have to go fix my balcony lights finally in a second. I separated out sections for crops and the different types of mobs, and it actually looks pretty cool. It's a little small, but for starting out, I'm happy with it. I'm excited to turn it into a whole thing, however, animal breeding didn't actually come out in beta 1.8, so we'll have to wait for a bit on that. And then I finally put the lights on my balcony correctly. Thank God. And lastly, I planted some wheat just to get us started. Bread will have to do for now. Now, one more thing. Instead of keeping our storage just randomly in our main house, I'd like to start creating some sort of like themed storage buildings where I can. So for the farm area, I decided to make a little storage shed to keep all food and farm materials in. That little spot next to the farm would be the perfect location too. But I wanted it to be special and fit the theme of beta 1.8. So enter the main block attraction of this update. Stone bricks, perhaps the most iconic Minecraft building block of all time, and we finally have access to it. And I want that to be the storage shed's main theme. And so I crafted some. The first stone bricks ever in Evolution. It's the episode of firsts, folks, and it feels so good. As far as the shed, I cleared a little spot for it and was just kind of winging it. I only had limited glass and didn't feel like going all the way out to get more sand, so I just used what I could. And boom. There it was, a little shed on our property. I actually love it. The last thing I needed to do was expand our gravel path out and it would be finished, and so I did. And it looks really nice and better developed out there on our lands now. Alright, let's dramatically shift gears for a second. I wasn't going to bring this up again, but there's been a brief new development from last episode's main surprise, the pig spawner we found during the Evolution livestream. There's been a few users in my Discord digging into how this happened for me. At first I thought it was maybe just a consequence of the world being updated, but that's not really how spawner entities work, as this chunk that the pig spawner is in would have been loaded in the very first episode, meaning it must have spawned as a pig spawner, which doesn't make any sense with how spawners work. One of my Discord members, DevGod, began digging into my world files for me and looking into it. What they found is that the coded entity value for spawners starts every spawner as a null value, which is a pig spawner. When it is loaded into a chunk generated by the player, the null value is weighted to either change to zombie, skeleton, or spider. However, for whatever reason, this didn't happen with our spawner, and the entity remained that null value, aka pig. DevGod and a few other members were unable to determine the cause of this despite looking into my files extensively. So I have two takeaways from this. One, we are absolutely bringing grass down here to spawn infinite pigs once Silk Touch is released, because wow, that will be incredible for this world. And two, if you have any idea on how this could have happened, either leave a comment down below or join my Discord and let me know what you found out.
Alright, so last thing we're going to take care of at home for this episode is finally adding the beta 1.8 section to the Hall of Blocks. And if you remember from last episode, the hall needs a lot of TLC as we kind of just left it half unfinished. I want to not only make a collection of the new blocks, as we always do, but also build another section dedicated to beta 1.8, and then fix all of our roofing and get the hall to a better state to set me up for the next updates. That being said, of course our beta 1.8 section has to feature stone bricks. Two other new things I didn't cover yet are both iron bars and glass panes. I wanted to use panes for the windows and use iron bars as a sort of window frame on the outside. And for symmetry's sake, have it all match the beta 1.7.3 room from last episode. We don't have a ton of space out here and the terrain is basically falling off a cliff, but let's just build it for now and then figure out the dirt part later. I decided to keep a tiled floor theme and do oak logs and stone bricks, which looks a little funky, but I've been on a tile floor train recently. And when I got to the glass panes, I realized they look really nice in this version. Something about the gritty old textures just makes me feel so safe, man. And then I found out they actually drop when you break them. Why was this ever removed? What's funny is that I used exactly 32 glass panes for the windows, so if that one didn't drop, I would have been one short and infuriated. I then noticed experience is bugged. Like, I must have gained a level, but the number doesn't show up. Like, I didn't die, so it didn't reset. I guess we'll see what happens with that. I'm actually curious now. Now, another thing we'll need to add to the hall eventually is a melon block. However, getting melon seeds is going to be extremely difficult in this version. I'm hoping when we go adventure in the next episode, we can find some in a mine shaft or village chest somewhere, but if not, we'll have to remember to add it eventually, instead of spending 50 hours looking for them when they are at their most rare. We'll also have to get some vines growing in this section, as they were also added in beta 1.8. It does look nice in here right now, though. And finally, I put this off for too long. It's time to fix the roof on all sides and get the hall back into an expandable state. I even put baby roofs on the protruding section rooms, though it looks a little goofy. What doesn't look goofy in this world, though? And then we discovered the weirdest part of this update. I'm a bit of a Minecraft historian, but even I didn't know about this glitch at the time. I noticed it when I opened my chest and saw a piece of mossy stone brick. Looking back into the footage, we can see exactly when I got this and didn't even notice. It came from stairs? You see, back then, stairs didn't drop stairs. They dropped the corresponding block they were made out of. So wood stairs would drop wood planks, for example. However, when Notch coded stone brick stairs into the game, the data value used for the stair facing direction carried over into the block that was given upon breaking the stair. The wiki has this nice little chart. This was a weird roundabout way to acquire cracked and mossy stone brick before it was even possible. And then I saw the block that's given when a stair is facing east, and my evolution mouth started watering, as it's another potential quote-unquote illegal item we can collect. Stone bricks, but cannot stack with other stone bricks. Now, naturally, I made stairs in all 4 directions and collected all the blocks from it for the hall. And sure enough, there was a stone brick that looks and is named normally, but does not stack with others. I knew exactly where this needed to go. In our chest, next to the stacked fishing rods. I'm curious to see if when this data value issue was patched, if it retroactively fixes stone bricks that were already in the game with a broken value. Now I can check if the fishing rods are stacked and if our rogue stone brick can ever stack with regular ones. Super cool. And the last thing I needed was some intense terraforming. I have quite a few stacks of dirt, and I'm sick of the Hall of Blocks floating on this huge dirt slab. I probably don't have enough to fix everything, but I did my best to make what we have look a tiny bit more natural, or at least a little more sloped. Things are really starting to come together on this world, and I am loving it. This was a fun episode with a lot of weird adventure update quirks. And as I reflected on it, I just want to say thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to make more of these for all of you. Subscribe if you're brand new, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Special thanks to my channel members on these signs, especially my knights Alex LG, Ponytail MC, Melon Siggy, Thomas Wellman Boyd, and Crimson, and my beloved lords Tor Willem, Vapichu, and Dirty Dan.